surprising winners, cold tires, a few gin and tonics, and much, much more to discuss from this past race weekend. And unlike the empty grandstands of the Vegas track, we are actually in attendance for this episode of 164 of the Eaton Asphalt podcast. All right. I don't think that I'm going to go on a limb that the expectations or the hate going into this weekend was nearly as much as last year. And I also think that the outcome was also pretty nice.
I thought it was, I enjoyed myself all weekend, if I'm being honest. I thought it was incredibly entertaining. From qualifying, there was some good race action, good drama, a lot of talking points. So, yeah, what else can you really expect? Or what else can you really ask for?
I mean, a night race, preferably, let's fix that a little bit, maybe,
Sure.
fix that to not that late.
Although, if you think about it, in Vegas, you don't want to race at like 12, like you're going to see people who are hungover from the night before, people like sad that they lost all their money.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
think maybe 10:30, 11 might be actually the sweet spot. Not
Yeah,
convenient.
they were about 10:30 their time. Yeah. No, I understand if I lived in an area, being a little selfish here, I don't. And it's pretty tough for me. So, yeah, I mean, I think probably 10 o'clock is probably a pretty perfect, sweet night race for them. So I get it, whatever. Anyways, yep, like Ian said, we have a ton to talk about. It was a fantastic race weekend. We have a 2-for-1 with Qatar coming up as well. So we have our a new sector alert, fastest thoughts presented by TikTok. Uh, lightly presented by TikTok. Our winners, our winners and losers, race and gambling predictions recap, our Qatar Grand Preview, country fun facts, and then our race predictions and gambling for the Qatar Grand Prix. So, getting right into it with our hot lap recap. Let's just do it. We head down to Sin City, where the people who seem to be really living it up in Vegas were the pit crews, as multiple were a tad too hungover from the night before and were not prepared to actually do the one thing that they were supposed to do, put on tires. But before we go into Sunday, let's talk about quals. We have had an ever so common Q1 exit, which includes the likes of both Aston Martins and Red Bull's redheaded stepchild, Sergio Perez. The real surprise we witnessed, though, was in Q3, where not only did Alpine an RB and a Haas make it, but the Alpine of Pierre Gasly actually made it onto the podium along with Carlos Sainz and pole winner in 2025 Mercedes captain George Russell. On Sunday, things continued to get spicy as Gasly went all in on Saturday just to go bankrupt on Sunday, only making it 15 laps with a blown engine. This was definitely the commentator's curse, I think, as all week people were talking about how he hasn't cost the team a single pound or dollar on car damages, only to get a blown tire or blown engine. The McLaren boys' hot streak finally seemed to have cooled down like the chilly streets of Vegas as they were finally told to stop using these illegal rear wings that got them to where they are today. Max was clearly slower than the Ferraris and the Ferraris and the Mercedes, but his only race was beating Lando in order to win him his fourth consecutive drivers' championship. George didn't have to deal with much contest this evening and got lucky as there was no last minute red flags. His team made sure his car was in regulation, so just pretty lucky in general for him, unlike all the other times when he's leading a race. Finishing off the race recap with some fellas sing red, Ferrari red that is, as self-proclaimed good guy Charles Leclerc gets cucked again by his teammate and diminishes his chances of a potential P2 in the drivers with 2 races left. Unfortunately, for all our international fans and Carlos Sainz who no habla English, we will be posting the Spanish version of the Hot Lap recap after this week. All right, our new sector, our fastest thoughts presented by TikTok, kind of.
Sort
All right, Ian. Yeah, sort of presented by TikTok. Here we go. Ian, gun to your head. Gonna tell all your family members said, do you think the top three in both championships will stay the same or change by the end of the year?
Yes, I think they stay the same.
And there we have it.
No, I think like I think McLaren what McLaren needs right now, which is I think what we can get is Oscar to wake up and Lando to get but both of them to wake up and both of them to be just in the like 3 to 4 right now. One of them
Yeah.
get a podium, one of them be close behind. It's gonna take two drivers though, because the one thing that Ferrari has shown is that like they can have two drivers in a race. I think it's been like I don't know how many races in a row where both of them are like top five. And that's going to do damage, especially as we've seen with Red Bull. How fast did Red Bull fall off? Like even with Max winning race here and there, like you need two drivers to be in that constructors championship, and it's quick to fall off if not. So I think like Oscar's going to wake up, right? Oscar's going to wake up. McLaren fan here. I promise that's what's going to happen. I hope that's what's going to happen. But yeah, I get if gun to my head, I think it stays the same.
Yep. I mean, all they need to do is one good race for both of them. I don't think they both have to do well for both races. I mean, the team does well, both drivers do well in one race, it's over.
It's what? It's 24 points of a gap right now.
Yeah.
24 points. Yeah.
So,
One race,
all right.
one race can do it.
That does it for our fastest thoughts, kind of presented by TikTok. Moving on to our winners and losers, presented by Ian.
Let's start with the positive here. Winner, I'm gonna put George Russell on, not just because of the win, but like also getting the pole position there. I feel like that was like just a big confidence booster. Hamilton going out the door, Russell has to step up and like kind of lead the team with this Antonelli kid coming in, and like the momentum from the end of the season, I feel like is important. So yeah, I feel like, winner George Russell. We don't get to say that too much either, but winner George Russell.
Yeah, he's usually for like feel bad. Should have been a winner with George Russell.
Yeah. And for my other winner, I'm also gonna stick with the other Mercedes guy, Lewis Hamilton here. Lewis Hamilton for starting P10, I think like at the begin, it was definitely one of those like, uh-oh, he's in trouble moments where he, Q3 was kind of a disaster for him. But then getting on the podium, he was mad at his engineers too for being like, how many positions did I just lose after his pit stop? But even after that, like it was, he was getting false mad. Like it was a false positive here. Where
Yeah.
he was, oh no, like what's going on here? But yeah, how about those both of those Mercedes boys ending up in positive? They need it right now.
Dude, Lewis was a firecracker. I mean, he was so fast, and I was like, dude, I think he's like, screw these tires. I just want to get fastest lap. I don't even care what happens in the race. That's kind of, I was like, he's going to burn out at some point, and he did not. I mean, I thought towards the very, very end, there you got it within 5 seconds or so of George, and then started losing it a little bit. But for him to make it that far at the speed and like how much he was putting onto the car and the tires, I was shocked. It was great to see. And going in the past couple of weeks, I just kept the amount of people being like, Max best, Lewis, like on the other foot, getting older, kind of lost his touch, and then for him to go, and then you see it Saturday, like maybe they're right, and then boom, Sunday back. This is Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah, 10-2 is awesome. My last winner is going to be escalators. So, not a lot of people in the stands we saw
No.
in Vegas. Okay. Well, maybe we can put in like a clip of the people who were there. That was like a little too shocking for me. And where I was
Mm-hmm.
just, is that a practice? Like, are we
Yeah, I
getting
was like,
are
yeah,
we getting practice, or is this like a live GP? But regardless, people who I guess just didn't want to show up, but the ones who wanted to be there and couldn't afford it, there was an escalator that you did see a pretty like
it was
incredible
like one of the better spots in the race.
at one of the best, like most entertaining corners, that the rule was you couldn't stay and be stagnant, but if you rode the elevator up and down and you were basically there, which is one of the funnier like overlookings of like another poorly planned Vegas Grand Prix.
Yeah, I wonder how they like. Obviously, yeah, like Ian said, if you are standing there and you're looking over, you get ticketed. But they're like, if you just keep riding the escalators up and down, and you just see people, the same people, same 25 people, just turn around, get back up the escalator, get back down. I mean, I guess your hands were tied because all you could be like, I forgot something up here. Oh, actually, no, I got it back down here. Like you have some type of excuse to be like, I'm riding this escalator for a reason. And they're like, why are you videoing the fucking just as you're going up and down? Why are you taking so many pictures?
Yeah. I wonder if they could like next time they're gonna put a picture limit or like, like you can't have your phone out or something like that.
Oh, they're gonna block this, dude. They're gonna put a big old screen with a middle finger in front of them. So better luck next year, buddy.
Any other winners before we go to losers?
I think that, I mean, Max, I guess, congrats.
I guess whatever. Well,
Yes.
that leads into my loser. Lando
Oh,
Norris loser. It's actually done all the way. It sucks because I didn't like in the back of my head, I knew it was really improbable. You had to rely on some kind of like failure from Max, like some kind of engine failure or like team botch. But I just don't feel like you really get that. And so too big of a gap, but it was fun. I mean, we can rest, happy that it was like 3 races before the end of the season where it was decided, like closest to the end of the season since Abu Dhabi in 2021. But yeah, that it did sting. You could tell by his social media post of saying like, "Hey, like congrats, feels like yesterday where we were in karting and Max looked like his like
his
70,
older brother.
yeah, like an uncle basically."
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Also, Max just taking victory laps ever like that entire night was hilarious. Him going up to Zach Brown, clearly drunk Max. Like there was videos of him getting drunker and drunker as the night went on. Him going up to Zach Brown and be like, "Hey, I know how you said that the only reason I'm winning is because I'm in the fastest car." He's like, "Can't say that this year, huh?" Zach's like, "Oh God." There was a lot of pretty good clips of Max just really living in. Lando the next day, then I don't know if you saw this, was like, "Oh, well, actually, or like Max was like, I could have won this championship in a McLaren. I could have won it in a Ferrari." And Lando goes, couldn't have won in a McLaren. Like no other driver could have done what I did and get it as close as I did with the gap he had at the beginning of the year. So in a little banter of, who's better. So,
Yeah, I this is why Lando needs to just go to Red Bull or Max just needs to go to McLaren. Like it,
oh, just see like who the real guy is.
yeah, because listen, like I have a hunch that it's probably Max in like equal machinery, but at the same time, like one thing that bothered me was like Red Bull had a huge gap at the
Yeah.
beginning, like in terms of performance. Their car was the better car. And like people, yeah, I don't know. He's right to gloat. Zach Brown taking those shots, like if you can back it up against like the opposite claims Zach Brown, then do it. But it was just like, man, come on, you still had a good car. Don't act like you had a horrible car.
Yeah. He's just like, dude, I got some tin can back here.
Yeah, dude, tomato can of a car. Another loser, my boy Pierre Gasly. Uh, he had to turn back into a pumpkin at some point, but I would have really liked to see that turning back into a pumpkin happen on track, based off of merit and not based off of an engine failure. Like,
Yeah.
he has cost his team $0 in collision repairs, like all season, which is like crazy incredible. Like not even during a practice session or a quality session. Um, but yeah, and then having it just didn't seem right, and you got to think like he's starting from P3. It would have been entertaining to see him finish up like a P8 or a P9
Mhm.
even, but yeah, poor guy. I did feel genuinely bad for him.
Yeah, I mean that I don't know how it got all the way till this like the Vegas Grand Prix for no one to talk about how he hasn't cost the team a dollar. And then leading into this week, everyone was talking about it. Articles, people interviewing him. There was so much attention on him. He's like, I hope I can kind of make it to the end of the year with this. The very next race that people actually start talking about it 15 laps in. So yeah, just a little bit of a curse there. People, the entire Formula One community kind of jinxed him there.
Yeah. And speaking of jinxer, I guess curses, let's wrap up with our last loser of the weekend. What are we doing with Sergio Perez? Where do we go from here? Because like I get he brings in a bunch of money. We've said this before on the pod. I understand he brings in an awesome, capital. There's a lot of people in Mexico. There's a lot of people in Latin America that like seeing him. But guy, you have to get out of Q3. It's no longer like it can't be a pat on the back for getting into Q2. Like you must get into Q1 with the machinery that your teammate is winning the championship in.
I agree like 95%. There is a 5% part of me that has a tinfoil hat on this whole Red Bull second seat situation. One, there's like Red Bull pit crew fighting on comments and Instagram posts being like, we gave Max the exact same stuff. And another guy was like, don't lie. This is bullshit. This isn't real. You guys aren't. This isn't equal. And then just looking at the history of Red Bull drivers, there has never, ever been in the history of Red Bull drivers two good drivers at the same time. Always been one really dominant driver and one, even if it's a good driver as the number two driver has been a substantially lower than the other one. I do think that Perez himself has amplified this gap for sure. But I mean, you think like Mark Webber, great driver, number two, big gap behind Vettel. Danny Ricciardo comes in, Vettel drops off, Max comes in, Danny drops off. It's been Max since.
I guess, man, but like, I don't know. I think I'll say it. I think Yuki's ready. P8 this weekend, like I think he gets in there and like can make some noise. It's gonna be or sorry, P9 this weekend. 2 points. Gonna be highs and lows, right? But like I think he's at the point where I feel like it could be interesting.
Not
And
yeah. I
what?
was gonna say maybe I don't even know. I might be less ready on the Yuki thing. It's he's more ready than Sergio. There's about everyone on the grid is more ready than Sergio. I feel like. I think mentally this is just probably absolutely eating about any confidence, any type of like self esteem he has. So I think it's just like bring someone in there, even if they're not going to be like the best pick for you. It's better than the alternative.
And I saw there was some like social media banter that I saw of the like if you take Sergio Perez out of Red Bull, you're losing like a massive part of the world that watches Formula One because of like Latin America no longer watching. It's like, look, Guan Yu Zhou doesn't have a seat next year. Yuki Tsunoda, last time I checked, there's a lot of people from Asia that are in the world. Like, just because somebody is a Latin American guy and like you fall off, like just replace him with what is there like? A billion people in China. There you go.
It's not a diamond in the rough. You'll find someone.
Anyway, that's all my losers.
The only other one I was going to say is just drugs, because there's just apparently like there was just weed machines going on around the course. Every driver was complaining about how they felt like they were getting high. That's not how it works, drivers, from what I know. They're like,
Yeah,
oh, dude, I'm getting a little Perez. I think that was one of his excuses. Is like, I'm getting a little sleepy out here. I think you just are old and you're not very good, actually. I think it's from the marijuana.
could be. That was a good one. I did see that. That's funny. Colapinto was just like, we would
Yeah.
probably fail a drug test right
Yeah.
now. Nah, don't think you would. I don't think you.
And that's how I found out the drivers don't get drug tests, I guess.
I never thought of that. Do they never get drug tested?
I don't know. Based off his comment, he's like, if they drug tested us, we'd all fail. I mean, I think the only drug that they probably need to test is probably like Adderall.
Yeah, that's a good point. That'd be fun. Like what a list of like our next TikTok sector is which drug would be the best for racing drivers.
Sprint quality, cocaine. Sundays, Adderall.
Part May marijuana. Nice. All right, let's move from our winners and losers to our race and gambling predictions. But before we do that, before we move on from Vegas, I do want to bring up that this part of the podcast is sponsored by casinos. The only thing that can emulate the rush and the thrill of a Formula One Grand Prix is the energy of a casino, and there's a place for every Formula One fan at the casino. If you like Ferrari, you'll love Texas Hold'em, a classic, a staple. When you think of the biggest, longest standing name in racing, you think of Ferrari. When you think of the biggest, longest standing game in professional gambling, you think of Texas Hold'em. If you like Alpine, you'll love slot machines. You don't really get that result often, but when you do, it feels like a jackpot. Brazil, and it makes it that much sweeter because it's unexpected. If you like Mercedes, you'll love the high rollers table where the average Joe dreams of having the success that you've had. If you like Aston Martin, you'll love craps because very few people around you know what's going on, but legend has it, if you put enough money and time into it, you'll eventually win something. If you like Red Bull, you'll love the rowdy bachelor parties known to run around on the casino floors because when they're winning, they're loud and obnoxious, and when they're not, they're whiny and annoying, and people don't feel bad for them. Next Grand Prix in Vegas, come down and visit a casino where the real action is and walk out richer than Lawrence Stroll. Results may vary.
Very nice, dude.
Thank
Very
you.
timely.
Yeah.
Got a casinos, all of them.
Yeah, exactly. That was a big sponsorship. I can't believe we signed all the casinos in the world for a
And
sponsor.
they're just like, just don't even say our names.
Yeah, no, it doesn't
They'll
matter.
know what the listeners will know.
Rising tide lifts all boats. Just get people gambling. We'll make more money.
We just love that casino, eh? All right, great job. Moving on to our, like Ian said, our race and gambling predictions recap. We both got one on our race predictions. We both got one. I got how many cars don't finish? Two.
I got Lando fastest lap, baby.
That
Knew
moves
it.
up our numbies. I got 13, ENS 15 coming down. Still going down the wire. I need to make up a little bit of room here in these final two races, but we got something fun brewing here.
And more fun than just the predictions is how well both of us are doing in gambling. So uh, I went 0 and 3. I think it might be my fourth weekend in a row going 0 and 3. 19 and 42 is my record. Minus, I'm only down 23.33 units. But like an Aston Martin fan, I'm going to keep throwing money at it, keep putting time into it, and eventually this will turn around. I hope. Or I lose everything.
Yep. I actually did. Yep. First time doing pretty bad this weekend for myself. 0 and 3, like Ian said, minus 3 units. I am 25 and 33, but 5.92 units up. So just gotta stay in the black for the final two races. Fingers crossed. And also, don't want to make excuses. We did look at the gambling odds a week and a half before the race, very limited on our choices. I didn't feel good about it going into it. This one's going to be different. So
Yeah. No, I didn't feel good either. And that's why that's
that's why you really struggle.
that's why I've been struggling the last 7 races with.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, going into it, you're up almost 6 units. I'm down almost 24 units. It's anybody's ball game.
Who knows what's going to happen?
Okay, and now let's go from our racing gambling predictions recap to the Qatar Grand Prix view. Qatar Grand Preview, the Lusail International Circuit, a 5.4-kilometer track with 16 turns. We only started racing here in 2021, so we'll be here for the foreseeable future. Qatar was just the same thing as when they bought when they bought the World Cup in 2022. We have a 10-year deal here, so we'll be racing here for a decade. Their first race they did here was in 2022. Last minute add-in to COVID to fill in like a canceled track somewhere else. Max is one here, Lewis is one here, and now hopefully we'll get somebody else. The track was primarily designed for motorcycle racing. By the way, it looks like Ditto from Pokemon. Really looks like any Pokemon that just has its arms up like this. But made for motorcycle racing in the first place. So it's going to be like very high-speed corners, 1 kilometer main straight at the very bottom of the track where a lot of that overtaking is going to take place. This is going to be, it's going to be nice, like 16 turns. None of them are super acute. All of them are like, or just about all of them are like pretty high speed. High speeds are going to be here. That's why, little preview for gambling. I think there's going to be a safety car here. We'll talk about
Ooh.
that later. But yeah, weather not going to get in the way. 74, 75, and 76 for the weather in Qatar. And we will see some good old fashioned racing high speed here. Kind of like this is the Monza of the Middle East. People have been calling it.
I like it. Also, different than last year. I was looking at last year's race. It was 102 throughout the weekend last year. So a little chill, a little more chill. Global warming? Yeah, right.
Yeah, right. Global cooling. Am I right?
Yeah, maybe we're getting a little too cold out here.
Yeah, maybe we need to burn more gas.
Hey, if who's gonna do it, it's Cutter.
Yeah, we need to burn more fuel during F1 races, a la Welcome Cadillac into the race. GM
Nice. Oh
Cadillac,
yeah, yeah.
America. All right, let's move from our Qatar Grand Prix view and stay on Qatar, talk about our country fun facts. Marco, I'm going to go first here.
Please do.
I have three facts. All of them are fun, and one of them is not true. One has to do with jockeys, one has to do with oil, and one has to do with minimum wage. Jockeys, oil, minimum wage. Number one, camel racing. We all know, multi-million-dollar industry. We bet you didn't know that up until 2004, to get instead of having jockeys on there, they would used to have children because they didn't weigh that much. So it would say, "Go race these camels, high speed."
Hold on tight, little
Hold
fella.
on, yeah, you better have some good forearm
Do we have
strength.
an age that
No, let's say eight.
okay, let's say it? Or like are we just saying it?
I'm just gonna say eight.
Okay, I think that's a good year. Get like they have enough arm strength to hold on for dear life.
Yeah, they're not like a baby. So 2004, child jockeys were banned, and now to make up for the child jockeys in recent years, to bring back kind of the glory days of pre-2004, robot jockeys have been
Nice.
on back of camels.
Robot kid jockeys?
Robot, I guess they could be kids. I don't
They
know
should be. I feel like that's an ode to the little ones that sacrifice their body.
how. Oil is my next fun fact. In 1940, it was discovered that Qatar, that's weird. In this part of the world, they have a bunch of oil.
Hmm.
But they were like, hey, instead of digging it up right now in 1940, let's wait because World War II is happening. Kind of crazy. We don't want to draw more attention over here, so we're going to put the delay on. So even though they found oil in 1940, after World War II, around late 40s, was when they started digging for oil.
Interesting. They were like, we're gonna like keep this little secret of ours till
Yeah,
we really need it.
they didn't want the Nazis to rule their oil, ruin their oil supply, I
Nice.
guess.
Yeah.
Good
Not the
thinking.
worst. Smart
Yeah,
guys.
worse ideas. And then my third one is minimum wage. In March of 2019, Qatar implemented a monthly minimum wage, the first country in the region to do so. They waited until 2019 to say, you know what? Slave labor, exploitative labor, it's maybe not as cool as we're making it out to be. Let's put in a minimum wage. I don't know what the minimum wage is. No guarantees that it's, acceptable or
Mm-hmm.
ethical or moral,
Yeah, but it's
but
there.
it's there.
And you said that they're the first to do that
They're the first to
in
do
the
that in the
Middle
region,
East.
in the Middle East.
Gotcha. All right. A lot to
Robot
consider
jockey,
here.
oil, minimum wage. I don't know why I put four. Jockeys, oil, minimum wage.
I am gonna go with minimum wage.
Minimum wage is the lie. Congratulations.
Come
So I'll say
on.
2019. Take a guess of when the year was that they put in minimum wage.
Last year.
2021. I thought
Dang.
2019 was going to be like, oh, that's way too late. Like,
Wait, so your your little funkiness change was a 2 year difference?
yeah, dude, how does it feel? You always do that.
Great. No, mine are like a billion people, and I was like, the answer is 400 people. Wow.
Um,
And I still can read through it, dude. I'm fucking gifted.
you
All
reading
right,
that?
my turn. Here we go. Um, two truths and a lie here. Move over, US, Canada, or any of those Scandinavian countries. Qatar is considered the safest country in the world. Definitely don't look into it. No issues here. Safest
Nope.
country in the world.
Yep, and shut up about it.
Stop talking about the safety unless it's that we're the safest country in the world. Um, I have a new what do you call it? Like a new hero because
Okay,
there once was a cotton. How do you say that? Cotton?
sure.
Okay, a cotton prince that once had over 100 wives and 300 children before he died. So you wonder what he was doing as a prince, like making laws and stuff. Probably didn't have the time.
Make love, not laws.
Yes. And maybe the law is making love just for him, though. And then the last one, Qatar, like many men, is a grower, not a shower, as the small country actually has grown 2 full meters in height than it was 400 years ago.
I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna go. The second one is a lie, and it's
Bang.
more wives and
Yes.
more children.
Completely made it up. There's nothing
Okay.
about that.
Okay.
Nothing at all. I don't even know if I'm sure they have princes, but yeah, just off the dome. All
Nice.
right. We both got it. Good for us. That's going to lead into our predictions and gambling. If we're going to ride this hot hand of getting our country fun of facts right, let's get these race predictions correct as well.
Who doesn't finish the race? Give me Charles Leclerc. Driver of the day, give me Max Verstappen. Yuki Tsunoda for douche of the day. I'm going to say Ferrari goes ahead in the constructors for my wildcard prediction with an emotional head. Fastest lap, Lando Norris. I actually used Lando last time, so I'm going to say Oscar Piastri.
Nice.
And then I'm going to say 2 cars don't finish.
Interesting. So, yeah, I used it 2 weeks ago. That's fine. Whatever.
I'm going to say Carlos Sainz.
All right. Good job. Maybe. Don't want to say be too soon. Who doesn't finish? I'm going to go with K Mag. Run out of time to go crazy. 2 more late races left. He's going to do something. Driver of the day, Carlos Sainz. This guy probably is on the I don't give a fuck if I piss my teammate off, clearly from last race. Douche of the day, Liam Lawson. This guy kind of is a douche. It seems like he's just doesn't give a shit about anyone who's facing. Wildcard prediction: Haas or Williams will be in the top 5. I don't think it's happened this year.
Nope, love it.
Fastest lap, Lando. How many cars don't finish? 4. All right, let's move on to our gambling paddock. Meow. All right, I'll just throw mine up here because I'm doing a lot of high risk bets this weekend. I'm going to go sprint quali because we did not talk about this, but as the listeners want to know, it is going to be a sprint quali weekend race here. So sprint quali, Guan Yu Zhou over Valtteri Bottas after that fantastic race he did last week. 0.5, I'm going to go half a unit plus 350. Ride the hot hand, like I keep saying. Ferrari quali winner, half a unit plus 550. And then Charles, top 3, half a unit plus 250.
I like the moonshots. Make it fun. I'm going to take the opposite approach. Give me minus 350 for Russell in the points, but I'm going to put 3 units on it. I'm just kidding. I'm going to put 1 unit on it. I'm acting crazy. Lando fastest lap plus 275, 1 unit. And then I'm going to put a safety car to happen. That's minus 150, 1 unit. We're just going easy does it. That's what we're doing. We're winning bets. We're making money. Yes, Marco.
Question here. Where did you get the minus 350 Russell in the points? That seems impossible.
On our sponsors, sportsbook, DraftKings Sportsbook.
Okay, because on our other sponsor, BetMGM, just in the top 10, he's minus 1,600.
Top 6 finish. Top 6 finish. Russell, top 6 finish.
Okay, glad I checked because that seemed crazy, and I was going to put a lot of money on that. Real money if it was minus 350 to score at all.
All right.
I got to check you.
Thank you. Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
I get it. He's gonna burn out the first lap. He's probably not gonna start the race if we're being
I hope he finishes 7 now.
All right, everybody. Long one. Enjoy the Qatar Grand Prix. Look forward to seeing everybody on the other side. And then our next recording session is gonna be our second to last. Oh no. Season's gone.
So blink of an eye. Blink of 24 eyes.
All right, everybody. See you, assholes.
The asshole.
Hey, thought you could leave without saying goodbye.
I used to say I lived my life a quarter mile at a time. And I think that's why we were brothers. Because you did too.